does.
Hey, we know some laser people, man. You know.
So I imagine some people might be listening to this that really don't know much about Biomech, and that it could be a fairly new thing. Like, let's imagine from like the beginning collector, you know, someone's getting tattooed. You want to throw it on we want to throw this on the TV for them to listen to. So if we had, I don't know, I feel like some of us should try to describe what it is we like about Biomech, like what makes Biomech, because every one of us would probably have a different answer. Like, Adam, I hate to put you on the spot, but what is it about Biomech that you like? Like, what makes Biomech?
Yeah, you know, I like the variety of it. You know, it's kind of like pizza and shit. You know, that like I mean, there's just like 5 million different options to make something still come out to where at the end of the day, you're gonna still agree and shake my hand and say that that's a pizza on the table or something. You know, and it comes from all these different ingredients that are just so fascinating. You know, and like that's I think my biggest draw to it is that how many ingredients can be used from nature and from space and from natural reality or from, you know, your own mind's eye or wherever you've been able to go, you know, internally and bring that all back together and put it together and come out with something that, you know, people are still going to group in biomech or something in a way, but in the long run, you know, it still has its own like flavor, like each pizza or something would have, you know, it's like they're all individuals in a way, but still like very full of like all these rad ingredients that you just could be like what you decided to kind of harvest for the week and put into it or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I like that.
Pizza.
I like the pizza reference, the Biomech pizza reference.
We always get back to pizza with Adam every time.
Right.
Every time.
That's what I'll be telling my clients now. They'll be asking me about it. I'll be like, have you ever heard of the pizza reference?
Yeah. A little pepperoni here, you know, we're gonna put some broccoli on this stuff, maybe some space broccoli.
Like, we're not gonna do pizza, but like, let me break some pizza down for you.
And let's sprinkle in another dimension on top of that.
Right. I love that Biomech can be robotic, or it can, you know, it can be like crustacean, like something like this. Like this was probably Marcus Leonard. Like, it looks like a crab or something like that, but like the most beautiful crab that just melted right into like some sort of agate.
A graceful transformation.
It's got this mineral-esque look, crystalline look, but also mixed with like very exoskeleton.
Yeah, really awesome. What are the rest of you? I mean, like, I just got a question posed to me.
Yes, no, Adam, we appreciated yours. Ty.
I'm kind of curious what the other explanation, you know, what their like standpoint, I guess, would be there, especially, you know.
If you have to
define
it, Ty.
No, don't do me. Do Geckel first.
All right, Geckel. We'll put Brian on the spot.
I've been getting away with fucking not saying anything, so fuck that guy. Get him on here.
He's concentrating.
Boy, dude, I'm putting this thing in.
Bullshit, you're accountable.
All right, what do I say? What I like about Biomech, I do like its diversity. I like that it's like mainly like imagination based. You know, I think that's super fun. It's one aspect of tattooing that kind of has that, or it's the only aspect of tattooing that kind of has that, where it's like just purely imagination. You know, like not taking something. It can be taking something and turning it into something weird, but it can also just be like literally your imagination come to life, and I think that's great.
Right.
Versus like you're not like rendering something that already exists, and you can kind of just like shoot from the hip. Like, okay, I just like these shapes. I'm gonna render those shapes to look really fucking real. That's something that I enjoy about it a lot.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And kind of like what you guys touched on earlier about like how it can fit the body and the flow and the form. It's super unique. in that way as well.
Are there any things in nature or like any creatures or animals that you really like that you like pull reference from, or like ever like you tend to drift towards a lot when you like are maybe pull from a reference, or if you're just, you know, thinking about things that inspire you to make Biomech or something, or, you know, is there anything from nature in particular you like to pull from? Or maybe everything.
For me?
Yeah. Yeah, you, Brian.
Yeah, you're on the spot right now.
Absolutely.
Spotlight Brian.
What's your favorite animal?
Oh, we lost him. It was too heavy.
He disappeared.
I just didn't want to answer.
What's your second favorite animal?
Oh man.
Blacked out right when I said nope, not answering that one.
Censored.
Odds, will you let Haku out real fast? He's bugging me hard. Thanks.
All the producers are making their appearances now. All the animals will have their part.
Oh yeah.
One of the things I love about bio when I'm daydreaming is I love looking at like macro photography. Like, have you ever looked at like pollen under like an electron microscope scan where it's just like down to the tiniest version of a pollen you can zoom up to?
Totally.
They look nuts. They look like alien shapes. They look like they're from another planet. Diatoms, I could spend hours just looking at diatoms. So there's all these like super micro elements of nature that just blow my mind because I imagine them giant. And then I imagine like in the grand scheme of things, you know how I always talk about scale of, you know, when I really get super baked and get really out there in La La Land. I love just pulling both micro and macro together and then like adding some energy to it to bring it alive. So like whether it's like light rays that like things are growing from, or if it's like some kind of energy form being emitted somewhere. I love just taking like all those different micro and macro ingredients. That's what does it for me. It's the micro and macro, and then like at the same time throw in like a nebula.
Right.
So we've got like all the scales you can imagine all in one space.
I love
it's
this.
almost like disorienting. Like, is this giant? Is this micro? Is this, you know, I guess I like bio that almost makes you ask more questions. Like, I want you to look at it and be like, I mean, I believe it exists, but is it a plant? Is it animal? Is it bone? Is it rock? I believe it exists, but what is it? And I think that's what pulls my trigger for bio when I'm making it, and what I collect. Like, I want it to tell a story, but I almost want you, I think, to ask more questions. Like my armpits, like, why do you have portals in your armpits? First of all, I don't know. Why not? Why do you have a geometric block on your back? I don't know. Yeah. Like,
if you feel like you might get sucked up into them, like,
yeah, I think my answer is usually like, well, why wouldn't I get portals there?
Right.
Like,
I show my arm, like robot dinosaurs. That's what I'm going for. Like robot dinosaurs, because I love robots.
Why would you
I
get
love
that?
dinosaurs. And if history went the way that I would like it to go, there would have been robot dinosaurs.
Why wouldn't I get that? I just like the posing of more questions. And I think that's where like I'm a fan of surreal art to begin with. So for me, like, there's a huge connection between bio art and like just your classic definition of surreal art, because it's things that may or may not really belong together in reality, but like through our imagination, we make that story like come to life and make sense and become a new thing, all while transforming the whole body part that we're working on, or that we're wearing, or I don't know. It's a whole bunch of magic daydreams to me.
Yeah, I like that idea of like daydreaming. I think about it a lot like that. whenever I'm making biomech and I'm starting something new, and I'm sure everyone else who makes biomech kind of understands, right? It's like looking at a cloud for me. Like when you look at a cloud, you start to you see a shape, and then you look closely, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this little face. Maybe it starts to oh, it's kind of looks like a tiger, and it's like I sit and stare at it for a minute, and all of a sudden now it's totally a tiger. And then the more I let my mind just create it into being that, the more I can push or pull it any one direction that I want. But I feel like biomech is the way of doing that, super solidly, really manifesting what those visions might be that you might project onto that, but project them onto something with all this intelligence behind it, all this technique, if that makes sense.
Magic. But you got to make it look effortless. That's the trick. It can't look like you tried hard. You can't ever let your client know that you're trying hard to make this. You got to be like, oh yeah, it'll be that. Just it's fine. It'll be that. full confidence, no nervousness, no this thing doesn't exist. But then when you realize this thing doesn't exist, oh, I've got all the freedom back again. It's a lot. It's a lot, but it's so much fun to play with. So much fun to play with, because I don't know. I don't think everybody can. I don't think every artist has the same kind of imagination. You know what I mean? We don't all think the same way, but there is something about people who love bio art. We all, for the most part, play with chemistry.
Right.
I don't know many bio collectors or artists who don't at least occasionally trip.
Right.
On
It's a little
some
bit of
kind
it's a little bit of
chemistry.
a cult phenomenon. Not necessarily culty, but
I was just gonna say,
a,
I think it's more like a spiritual similarity that we
culty.
all have. It's just a spiritual similarity that we all already have, and we're all exploring those imagination realms, collectors and artists. We're all dancing in those same.
Right. And it's one of those things
wavelengths.
that and the people who like it, they really like it. And they're definitely, I don't know. I really enjoy people's personalities who like biomech. As soon as I know they're into it, there is usually a few things that lead up to that not make them a better person in any sort of way.
Let me ask you this,
that,
Jordan.
but it just
have you
more
ever
interesting.
have you ever worked on somebody and done a biomech piece and found out they didn't believe in aliens? Does everybody that
No.
collects bio believe in aliens?
I would probably. I
Anybody wanna
can't.
chime in?
I can't speak. I can't speak for everyone, but personally, no.
We're gonna have to have a deep, long conversation afterwards, involving multiple dinners and lunches and documentation links sent personally at the moment, or maybe cancellation, bro. We need to be talking about the same last names of researchers and fucking weird shit. We both need to